Welcome to Boom TV, a production of Berkshire Organization for Original Music. Coming up on today's show, the music of local singer-songwriter Alan Monasch. We'll learn about the producer's role as well in the recording studio in our conversation with local musician, Boom co-founder, and producer extraordinaire Sandy McKnight. Now our featured performer, Alan Monasch.
Every road and river calls me home. My home is on the highway, at every halfway station, and every day's goodbye day. I am leaving old relations for unknown destinations. Finally caught a highball ride to Pittsburgh to Chicago on the train. I gotta keep on with it. No stop, no hesitation. Conductor punched my ticket. I have made my reservation for unknown destinations. The city's getting pretty small, but I'm just saving up my speed. I think I hear the highway calling me. That's all I need. My heart is filled with unknown destinations. Every road and river calls me home. My home is on the highway, at every halfway station, and every day's goodbye day. I am leaving old relations for unknown destinations. Destinations. It's unknown destinations. I've got a new song for you. This is Watching Her Train Go. Well, the morning is broken, the sirens are spoken, and the night sweat still seeps up in the street. When we denizens of the darkened dens, barely comrades, never friends, look up and our eyes do not meet, and we blink back the glare and remain unaware. I think of a day some time ago when I was sitting on a platform, head in my hands, after watching her train go, watching her train, watching her train go. She was a singular woman, and in the best of our moments we'd rise, still flying we'd climb, and we drank it all in, and we drink it again, and we'd bathe in the fullness of our time. But then the time went all hazy, life went all crazy. I was lost in the thick liquor flow, and I was sitting on a platform, head in my hand, after watching her train go, watching her train, watching her train go. And it's all on me. drowned in the memory. And my freedom is not free. She's no cage, I'm no key. Now the morning is broken, the sirens have spoken, and the night sweat still seeps up in the street. And I'm working my lessons on the steps of depression, where the heart is so harsh in its defeat. And she would not recognize me, I don't recognize myself, but would she want to know that I was sitting on a platform, head in my hands, after watching her train go, watching her train, watching her train go.
Nice stuff there, Alan.
Thank you for saying. Thank you so much for saying.
We've gotten to know a little bit about each other over the years, and I know you're from San Francisco originally.
I'm very from San Francisco. I still go back there frequently. I'm associated with a very large and loving music community there, I'm proud to say.
What's the difference between San Francisco's music scene, as far, other than the obvious, but the difference as far as the way original music is felt about in the San Francisco area as opposed to here in the Berkshires?
I'll tell you something. There's a good way of talking about it, is to say that I don't think I heard the term original music in San Francisco, because we assume original music. When somebody's going to play, we assume it's a singer-songwriter, and we assume they're doing their own material. We ourselves, as a large music community, are an audience for that kind of music, but there's an audience for it as well. I mean, it's there.
The songwriting process for people is always different depending on what they do, and you're mainly a keyboard player.
I'm mainly a keyboard player. I'm playing guitar today. I play guitar in case I can't play keyboard, and I've got the unique ability to play anything that I can play on the keyboard. I can play on guitar without having prepped it. The magic happens once I know the chords. Has
it always been keyboard for you, or did you start?
Absolutely not. I started on guitar. In fact,
yeah.
Let me tell you about. I just got this new guitar. This wonderful. It is a for all you people who think it's a Fender thin Telecaster thin line. It's actually a Fernandez TE3 from Japan. Fernandez, though, did make guitars for Fender, and this is made right to their standard, right to Fender's standards.
It's a pretty guitar.
We think.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, I started on guitar because my first guitar was this Japanese guitar that I had for 51 years. I was playing it up until a couple of weeks ago when I brought it from San Francisco here, and immediately broke the neck. And being there was being there was a $50 guitar to start with, it was not worth putting any more money into.
Right.
So it was time for a new guitar, and I'm really proud of this one.
Sure.
I think I like it a lot.
Sure. Well, we're anxious to hear a little bit more music from you. So why don't we go ahead and you want to do a few more for us?
I would like to do a few more for you.
All right, sounds good. Alan Monasch.
Thank you. Let me look down on my at my. Oh boy. This is called The Object Constancy of Love. I've got this problem, it's on my mind. About love, the lasting kind. Says, do I worry too much about this permanent stuff? Like, does your lover stay loving? Does her love stay true when she isn't right in front of you? I mean, that's a question of the object constancy of love. Well, the object of my affection, she perplexes me a lot. Seems to love me when she's with me, forget me when she's not. Says, I must conquer my fears. I have to rise above. Oh, but I get so nervous when she doesn't call. I light cigarettes with cigarettes, pace up and down the hall. I don't believe at all the object constancy of love. And when my woman falls in the night in another room in the scented candlelight, does she make that sound when she's out of sight? Well, I don't know, but I got my suspicions. Her love comes and goes, depending on conditions. I will have to see about the object constancy of love. When my woman falls in the night in another room in the scented candlelight, does she make that sound when she's out of sight? Well, I don't know, but I got my suspicions. Love comes and goes, depending on conditions. I will have to see about the object constancy of love, sea of love. I have to see about the object constancy of love. See my love. I have to see about the object constancy of. Thank you. Yeah, that's where that ends. Now I've got another for you. This is a blues song called You're Gonna Lose. Everybody's holding out some feeble kind of hope. Big bag of money, even bigger bag of dope. Big stack of Bibles, a burning sack of sin. Doesn't matter what you do, they're all gonna do you in. You're gonna lose. You know, sweet by and by. Looking them to sing the blues up until the day you die. Don't matter if you're a lawyer, a banker, or a priest. Going to work, going to school, going to jail, or getting released. Don't matter what you do, or what, or who you know. You're gonna get kicked in the end. Your Bible tells you so. You're gonna lose. Ain't no sweet by and by. You're condemned to sing the blues up until the day you die. Don't matter what kind of words you say, don't matter how soft you speak, 'cause even if you turn away, they'll kick you in the other cheek. Everybody's holding out some feeble kind of hope. Big bag of money, even bigger bag of dope. Big stack of Bibles, a burning sack of sin. Here's the news, you don't have to choose. They already done you in, you're gonna lose. Ain't no sweet by and by. You're condemned to sing the blues up until the day you die. You're condemned to sing the blues up until the day you die. Thank you. This next is called Dancing Down into the Night. Let me take it. Sorry about that. Have to do it from time to time. Dancing Down into the Night. No more pain, no more fear. Something's changing since I came here. And all the gray gets washed away by time and tears. And I've been high and I've been low. I felt at times that there was nowhere else to go. But there's a strength inside me, I've let it guide me through the years. And who could have done what I did? Pulled out of the skid, got up and walked away. I'm only human and I'm only human and I do the best I can. Hope you'll forgive me, I'm only trying to live now. And here's the moon and it's shining bright. I've got to move before the daylight. Don't want the sun to catch me dancing down into the night. Who could have done what I did? Pulled out of the skid, got up and walked away. I'm only human and I do the best I can. Hope you'll forgive me, I'm only trying to live now. Here's the moon and it's shining bright. I've got to move before the daylight. Don't want the sun to catch me dancing down into the night. Dancing down into the night. Dancing down into the night.
Dancing Down into the Night.
Indeed it is.
So that one is pretty heartfelt. What's that one about?
Well,
Inspired.
Strangely enough, the first song I did, Unknown Destinations, and this one, I wrote it about the same time. It was the mid-'70s, and I had just moved from New York to California. And those are both songs about just having moved from New York to California.
Have you recorded any of these?
I've got a very small body of studio recordings. I've got, of course, like everybody else, stuff that I've recorded at home. I've got a band at San Francisco.
Yeah.
We're threatening to make an EP. We're always threatening to make an EP, but it's very close to being started.
That's the Night Crew.
That's the Night Crew. That's my band, the Night Crew. Let me mention them by name just as a shout out. Drummer Ruthie Haneda, guitar player Dennis Haneda, and bass player David Fairchild.
All right, fantastic, good stuff. Well, I mentioned recording, and there's a reason for that. And one of the key components of recording music is dealing with a producer in the studio. And I had a chance recently to talk with Sandy McKnight, who is co-founder of Boom, as well as a local musician. And we spoke about what the producer's role is in the studio, and what that means for the musician, what they can expect, that sort of thing. So we're going to join that and take a look at that conversation now. We're here with Sandy McKnight, who is, besides a musician himself, co-founder of Boom, and also...
Beside a musician.
Oh, what was that? You want to start again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Keep rolling.
Go. Yeah. We're here with Sandy McKnight, who is, besides being a musician himself, co-founder of Boom, and also a producer. And that's why we have him here today to talk about producing, of all things. Imagine that. So Sandy, you've had a chance to work with different artists over your time as a producer. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the folks you worked with, how those things, or how did that was terrible.
Well, you know, over the years...
you want to start that over?
Yeah, I'm not going to...
go ahead and keep it rolling.
Okay.
And
I know you don't want to do a lot of editing, so
so we're going to just keep it rolling, and
Well,
this will be
Okay.
producer segment, take 3.
We're here with Sandy McKnight, who, besides being a musician himself, is co-founder of Boom and also a producer. And that's why he's here with us today to talk about producing and what that is, or what that has to do with our, how to, one more time.
Okay.
Tell me that.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I've got like 5 more hours.
I'm trying to wing it, and I'm,
Yeah.
No.
No, that's fine.
just go right to the
relax.
question.
It's a conversation. If you stumble a little bit,
Yeah.
no big deal,
Okay.
because again, this is not going to air,
Yeah.
but this is going to be practice for everybody,
Okay.
and it's going to be roll-in footage. All right, producer segment, take, where are we?
4.
4. Producer segment, take 4.
We're here with Sandy McKnight, who, besides being a musician himself, is co-founder of Boom and also a producer, and that's why Sandy's here with us today to talk about producing. So Sandy, you have done a lot of producing in your time as a producer. It's a lot of
I've
producing.
been productive.
You
yes.
have. Well, tell me about some of the artists that you've worked with.
Well, there's this one guy, Bill.
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 I know Bill.
You know Bill?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's good. He's a good player. I've used a lot of guys who are well known in the rock world. Guys like Earl Slick and Gary Burke and Graham Mabey and people like that. But as far as like artists that have been well known, not so much. John Davidson recently.
What were you doing with him?
John did a song of mine, and I produced it.
Oh, very nice. Anything you can talk about? As far as...
It was very sad. No, actually, it was fun. He's a good guy, and he did a nice job with the song. He's, of course, a consummate pro at what he does, because he's been doing it forever. And but he did a nice job, and I don't know if it's going to be released or what's happening with it, but it's finished.
Okay.
So
this is going to be the most basic of questions, but you're probably expecting this. What exactly, or in general terms anyway, what does a producer do in the studio?
it varies, depending on the project, depending on the artist. But primarily, what I like to do is think about big picture stuff. And this kind of is the difference between a producer and an engineer or somebody who is more technically oriented. I'm not technically oriented. I'm big picture oriented. So I'm thinking in terms of, you know, what is the best material that could go onto this project? Is there a certain sound that works for this artist? Is there a certain sequence the song should be in? Is there a certain sound that we're going for? How can we get the best performance out of the vocalists? Things like that. And then when it gets to the mix portion, then that's another area where I kind of do my thing. But there's usually often a lot of pre-production, which is stuff, you know, choosing material, thinking about what the objective of the project is. And that is something that, you know, if you're just working with the engineer in the studio, they're not going to do all that stuff because that's not what they do.
Sure. When a young band comes in, or a young band or young artist, solo artist, whatever, and they're looking to have you produce their record, What are their expectations from you, and what is it that you really do? I don't know how much they understand about it, so.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but I often get asked to make it sound like a record. You know, I mean,
I imagine so.
because people don't know, like what's the magic of it, you know, and a lot of times it's what you don't put in that's important. A lot of times younger bands want to, you know, throw in the kitchen sink or whatever and try to make it sound bigger, but that's not really the way to do it. So you have to kind of guide them in that way, and people who haven't played in the studio a lot tend to maybe overplay sometimes, or on the other end of the spectrum be more tentative because they don't want to make a mistake. You know, and a lot of times young bands don't have a real clear idea of their sound or what they, you know, what they want to sound like. And so in pre-production, you can discuss that and kind of, you know, bounce that around a little bit and say, well, you know, it sounds to me like your strength is such and such, you know. And so it's that kind of a relationship, and in the best of situations, it works out well for everyone. I've had things not work out well, though.
Sure. How about when a veteran person comes in, somebody who has maybe 2, 3, 4 CDs under their belt already? Are their expectations different? Does it roll differently?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, if they have a lot of experience, that can be a plus because they're working with people in the past who have guided them and they are used to that process. However, they're also to some degree set in their ways. Sometimes they, you know, have certain ways of approaching things that are not necessarily what I would do. And so I have to kind of, you know, try to get them to do what I think is right for them. And I don't have a, you know, one-size-fits-all approach. So I do take the artist's strengths and desires into consideration. But you also want to give them something new that they haven't done before. So you want, you know, it depends on the artist. I mean, some people, they just want to do what they do and that's it, and they don't even really need anybody in there with them. But if you're trying to like bring out some new quality or new sound that they haven't really explored, that gets kind of interesting because you know, then that opens up a lot of doors, and a lot of artists will come to you and say, look, I'm looking to do a different kind of thing. I've done this, I've done that, you know. So it really, project by project is different. Everything is different.
Okay. Yeah. So the process of how the whole thing works, obviously you can't get too detailed, but and you touched on it a little bit already. Can you sort of walk us through a typical session and how that goes?
All right. Well, by the time we're in the studio, we've already done a certain amount of work. So ideally, you spend as little time in the studio as possible because they make you pay.
Right.
And you don't want to pay.
Not a lot, anyway.
Right. You know. But if you have a budget of, say, $5,000 to do a project, and you hire someone like myself, then I usually tell people that they'll spend about the same amount as if they went in by themselves and just paid for the studio time, because they would save half the studio time, you know, which they would have been paying for by the hour, because I won't make the mistakes that they probably would if they didn't know the studio or didn't know what they were doing. So I try to do it that way, where I'm working within the budget that they have. And then day one, usually you're trying to get a rough basic tracks, you know, depending again on the project. Try to get at least 3 or 4 songs, you know, foundational tracks. If it's a really low budget project, you might try to do, you know, a little more. But there is a point at which the productivity starts to drop off. So, you know, you try to make the best use of the time. I tend to work pretty fast, so that helps save money. But depends on the studio you're in, because sometimes the engineer isn't able to keep up, and then that slows the process.
So you mentioned time and money. So when a band comes in, or an artist comes into the studio with you, obviously they don't want to be wasting your time or their time because it costs money.
Right.
How should they be prepared? What do they need to have ahead of time so that when they go in, they're not going to start immediately wasting time?
Well, I think the songwriting is really important. If the songs are good, then a lot of the other pieces fall into place. So I recommend for new artists that they should really work on songwriting technique, making the songs really as tight as possible. Then it's like an arrangement issue, how do you put the song, how do you give it its best shot at being heard? I don't think a lot of times artists are not thinking about the listener as much as they should. So I try to be that listener, and I try to say to them, maybe if this was like a little faster, or maybe if this was like, rhythmically more interesting or whatever. So you start to explore those things, but try to do all that in pre-production so that once you're in there, you know all the parts, you know what you're going to play, and, the harmonies are worked out and everybody knows. The more you come in prepared, the quicker it's going to go, and the better it'll probably go too, because it does get frustrating when you're trying to, do something and you're not really that clear on what you're trying to do. And so you go through like take 1, take 2, take 3, take 4,
Sure.
how that is.
Sure. Yeah.
And you don't want to be in that position in the studio. And of course you're a little nervous in the studio, especially if you're new to it. So you try to rehearse and get everything as tight as possible before you get there. That's one of the keys.
All right. Well, hopefully that will give our musicians out there that are looking to have a record produced a little bit of insight. So thank you so much, Sandy. Sandy McKnight, for being with us today. And
it's been a pleasure.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot.
Really, it's been okay. But it's
Take care.
Okay.
A time on my hands, that's what I notice. All these hours to fill after the fall. I still feel your head on my shoulder. And when I brush off my collar, I still pick up these strands. Now what am I gonna do with this time on my hands? You'd say I was lonely. I only talk to myself if I talk at all. And look at these fingers, clenched and swollen. They couldn't hold you, but oh, they won't let go of this gold band. Now what am I gonna do with this time on my hands? And down this empty day, life just drains away, and without you I am not who I am. And time on my hands ticks like my heartbeat. like this clock that you loved, but you left on this wall. Oh, throw my time away from yours, throw me back. I have to pick up the pieces when I throw this clock across the room, and it breaks where it lands. Now what am I gonna do with this time on my hands? I'm broken too. How will I live through this time on my hands? Time on my hands. That's Time on My Hands. Next is called How Many Are the Dreams? Jenny, you're a magician. You know you change your magic name. We're all not married. We all don't need a lamb. Some need tigers, some need stones. Some need triggers, some need signs. Some seem to need the silence like I seem to need these lines to tell you, Jenny, I'm a musician. With the movement of my hand, I reach inside myself to tell you who I am. I'm the poet of my life. I'm a puppet, I'm a thief. Sometimes the things I'm doing seem to be beyond belief. How many are the stars that live among the skies? Oh, I don't know when. How many are the dreams that pass before our eyes? I won't know, and even so, it's alright. Jenny, I've had a vision. It makes me fall down on my knees. I see myself. I've become a wise old man. That's just what I want to do, who I want to be. And if I never make it, there is nothing wrong with me. How many are the stars that live among the skies? Well, I don't know when. How many are the dreams that pass before our eyes? I won't know, and even so, it's alright. I won't know, and even so, it's alright. I won't know, and even so, it's all right. Now I have a slow blues for you called Who Am I Supposed to Be This Time Around? Bleh. Excuse me, I have to cough a moment. Am I your knight in armor, or the villain of the piece? Your drug of choice, or do I grant you your release? Am I your paradise, or your underground? Oh, who am I supposed to be? this time around. Am I your mess or your cleanup crew? Your slave or the one who makes you do the things you choose to do? Am I your guru or your clown? Oh, who am I supposed to be this time around? I'm not just anyone, I can't be anyone, but who I am. I can't hold on to you, and if I do, well, I can't give a damn. So will I be your Tarzan? Will I be your Mary Jane? The one demanding answers, or the one who must explain? Will I be the one who holds you up, or the one who holds you down? Oh, who am I supposed to be this time around? I'm not just anyone, I can't be anyone, but who I am. I can hold on to you, and if I do, well, I can't give a damn. That's exactly who I am. So will I be your Mary Jane? The one demanding answers, or the one who must explain? Or will I be the one to hold you up, or hold you down? Oh, who am I supposed to be this time around? Oh, who am I supposed to be this time around? I've got one more for you. This is another blues. It's called Indestructible. I'm indestructible. You can't hurt me anymore. I'm indestructible. You can't hurt me anymore. gonna hold my head up when I'm walking out your door. You were like a wall, and I was like a speeding train. You were like a wall, and I was like a speeding train. And we met once too many times in the place where love turns into pain. Wise man once told me, you better walk before you have to crawl. A wise man once told me, you better walk before you have to crawl. When I walk away, I don't want to feel anything at all. I'm indestructible. Well, you can't hurt me anymore. I'm indestructible. You can't hurt me anymore. But please don't make me look back when I'm walking out your door.
Indestructible. So, does that song have a name attached to it by any chance? Or
Well, that's
written about somebody, an old lover, perhaps?
Oh yeah, well, it's about all of them in a way, but yeah. Actually, the guiding light for that song was like blues songs work like that. They sound confident, you know. The guy sounds confident, but underlying that is an insecurity.
Sure.
And that comes through in the last verse of that song. You asked me about songwriting process before, and I wanted to tell you, my songwriting process is normally to write the bridge of the song first, then the last verse, and then it's easy to figure out 2 verses to lead up to the bridge. That's my songwriting process in a nutshell.
Do the lyrics come to you first, or does the music kind of crop in there first all together?
In truth, it has to be all together. Yeah. I've got very little experience writing one without the other. Got some, though.
Sure.
Thanks for asking.
Do you write a lot about relationships? I know a lot of...
I would say, if I had to qualify my songs, I'd say they are about regret.
Yeah.
They are pretty much about regret.
Popular choice, I think. And
Yeah.
of course, love is another thing with songwriting.
We do that.
Yeah.
We do that. True.
Well, thank you so much, Alan, for sharing your music with us today on Boom TV.
The pleasure was mine.
Yeah, we enjoyed it.
Thank you for saying.
Sure. Well, that's about all the time we have for today on Boom TV. I want to have Alan take us out with one more tune, if you'll do that, would you?
I can do that.
All right, we'll see you next time on Boom TV.
This is called Perfect World. No one's perfect. Why be ashamed? Be yourself. Why be afraid to be your own best answer when you're crying in the night for help? when you're certain it's your soul alone, it couldn't be more clear. Say the words you've always known. Say the loving words you need to hear. Sing 'em. Nothing's perfect in this world, nothing's perfect. Then if it's of this world, nothing's perfect. But this perfect world, why look above your own heart for love when it's your own heart that you need to know? Everything changes. It hurts to hold on, so let it in and let it go. You can trust yourself when it's all down to you and you got nothing and you got a lot. And there's this question always right in front of you. Are you small enough to know your God? Then you can say, nothing's perfect in this world, nothing's perfect. Then if it's of this world, nothing's perfect. But this perfect